Good afternoon, sanibonani bantu basemzansi. Lena ke yintombi yakwaMtimanze uPearl Shongwe. You tuned into the second episode of One Day Leader Season 5. We're here to challenge your outlook by getting you to speak about the issues that impact and affect your world. This week, our contestants will be debating on the all-important topic of whether the basic education curriculum is still relevant to the ever-changing needs of our society. But of course, I need to answer the question that has certainly been lingering on your mind since last week. Ingabe obani abafinyelele kwi-final top 68. Let's see who your leaders for this season will be.
My name is Anissa Mazimpaka. I'm representing the Free State. So I'm originally from Rwanda. My family came here during the '94 genocide. We got to South Africa in '96. So from then I knew that I have to step up and be a change to society. When I got to varsity, I really felt that student activism is something that I should be more engaged in. And then during my second year, I became the SRC treasurer of that year. The following year, I became the SRC deputy chairperson. I enjoyed helping students from academic exclusions, financial exclusions. And then beginning of last year, I became the interim SRC president, otherwise known as the Student Advisory Council.
All right, thank you and welcome to Season 5. Anissa, please take us through your vision statement.
From the streets of Rwanda to the democratic South Africa, a leader's vision for social justice through education emerges. We can, we must, and we will ignite the spark. South Africa, I'm talking to you.
All right, Mzansi, I guess Bonoguti Obani, the second leader.
My name is Akile Ngati. I'm from Durban in KZN. Currently work as an architectural intern for Ruben Radio Architects. It's one of the more prominent architecture firms in the country. With that as well, I'm studying my final year in architecture at the Durban University of Technology. And yeah, so if I'm not at school, I'm in the office or I'm running one of my organizations, the Sakila Ngwadi Institute of Leadership Excellence, which basically runs like debating tutorials in like townships and stuff.
Tiabonga Sakile Wasemtubane, please share with us what your vision statement is.
From Umlazi to the stages of the SABC, I believe in an open opportunity society where it is not where you're from that determines how far you make it in life. South Africa, we need change, so be the change.
Zansi, nangumholweni wesithathu.
My name is Retabile Landman. I'm from Welcome in the Free State. I am turning 19 this year. So I've been an ambitious young woman ever since already, I think, season 1 of One Day Leader. I've followed that and was inspired by Siadi Motlale because she was from the same area as I am. And Tanelo Fokazi season 3, but I couldn't watch season 4 because it was my matric year. And matric is hard, real matric. Anyway, I'm from a very small town though. Like Welcome is a very small town. Everyone knows everyone. And what's also very nice about Welcome is that you are always welcome because it's in the name. Like Welkom is welcome in Afrikaans.
All right, Ritabile nawe wamgelegile. One Day Leader Season 5, your vision statement, please.
150 years ago was the Industrial Revolution, but today we live in a political revolution where young people are at the forefront. Because to be young is something, but to be young and woke is everything. #we are woke.
Umholwetu Wesine is certainly no stranger to the show. Let's take a look.
I'm Sydney, 24 years from Vanderbilt. I'm an aspiring educator and possibly maybe the future president of the country. Right, very ambitious about young people. I work with them in schools and when I was in SRC, in community work that I've been doing. And I really think that by my participating in One Day Leader, it's an opportunity to continue that work, right?
Fourth leader that was selected, Sydney, welcome back to One Day Leader. Your vision statement, please.
Let us work collectively at developing South Africa to be the utopia it rightfully is, where we drive regional and economic development to empower young people. Ladies and gentlemen, let us imagine a South Africa of tomorrow, today.
Your fifth leader is coming up.
Hi, I'm Levompela and I'm from Pretoria. And I'm a Wits graduate. I did politics and international relations, and then shortly after that I got into print media, and then I ran as a publicist for about 2 years, and then I started my own company last year. I manufacture my own cosmetic products, so I have a nail care company called Malia Nail Care. And yeah, I'm passionate about business, young entrepreneurship, people getting into business obviously, and educational development as well as social development.
All right, Lebo, welcome to season 5 of One Day Leader. Please share with us your vision statement.
South Africa deserves a strong-willed woman to drive economic development and to serve society with due diligence. If we change our mindsets, we can change our lives.
Mzansi, we're just in time to take a look at who is our 6th and final leader. Let's take a look.
My name is Itumeleng Mpofu. I'm a student at the University of Cape Town, having born in Gauteng, in Everton, which is in the outskirts of Johannesburg. And then from there, I went to study at Qetilizo Secondary School. I'm from Qetilizo, then that's when I went to the University of Cape Town. Now, throughout, I've been somebody who's passionate about leadership, about politics, the current affairs. Based on that, I grew to be somebody who can be defined as a charismatic and outgoing leader, somebody who cares about the people.
All right, Siyabonga kakhulu Itumeleng, what is your vision statement?
I imagine a South Africa of radical economic transformation as postulated in the Freedom Charter as a way of addressing the injustices of the past and alleviate poverty. A South Africa where young people are empowered to live their lives tantamount to the motto, #I am too legit to quit. Amandla.
Well, there you have it, Mzansi. These are your final top 6 leaders. Senizwele Matupa, as they have given you what to expect from them this coming season. But will they live up to it? That is the question. Remember, you at home can join the conversation and hold all of them accountable by visiting our Facebook page, One Day Leader SA, to share your comments on the topic. Also visit our Twitter page at One Day Leader and #OneDayLeader5. Now we get on to the voting. Let's see how you at home can participate and make your voice be heard.
To vote for Anisa, SMS Leader 1 to 32672. For Sakile, SMS Leader 2. For Ritabile, SMS Leader 3. For Sydney, SMS Leader 4. To vote for Lebo, SMS Leader 5. And for Itumeleng, SMS Leader 6.
Leaders, this season you will also be expected to come up with and create your very own legacy project. Let me be very clear. Leli yithuba lokuthi nenze umehluko obonakalayo, bring a real difference to the lives of ordinary citizens. Now, we wouldn't be where we are with our top 6 in tow had it not been for our 2 permanent judges. Welcome, Tebogo and Catherine. The Department of Basic Education has been at the forefront of providing the education system. And today, as a guest, we are joined by Mr. Opa Budibe, who is the Chief of Staff at the Office of the MEC of Education in Gauteng. Good afternoon and welcome to One Day Leader.
Good afternoon, thank you.
Mr. Budibe, thank you for being with us on the show today. Now, as the voice of the department, would you say that it's important for the youth of South Africa, as they are the primary beneficiaries of our current education system, to have their opinions and considerations be taken into account when making and implementing decisions, such as perhaps changing the curriculum?
That is correct, and curriculum must ever evolve because societies change. And curriculum is not just about the weights, it's about getting skills to prepare you for work and life after school. So it's important that the voice of the youth is taken into account.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Budibe. You've heard from the man himself, Mzansi. The voice of the youth is important. It's really important to match up what happens in the classroom with basic skills that will see them through even after school. For now, though, let's see what exactly is the task at hand for our 6 leaders. Good morning, leaders. If the reality of you being in the One Day Leader Season 5 top 6 has not sunk in yet, I suggest you adjust, and very quickly. Today, I will be handing you your first task. You will be expected to visit Alexandra Township in the heart of Johannesburg, where you will meet 17-year-old Siphesihle. She failed her grade 11 in 2015 and subsequently repeated it in 2016. Your task centers around basic education in South Africa. You will go and assess whether basic education plays a pivotal role in her future. Sakile, it will be your responsibility today to guide the team through their journey, take them through their paces, and clarify each of their roles. Leaders, you will be expected to have completed your task by sunset today.
uSiphesihle ngugeli nje ozikhulele elokishini osithandela ibhola nesikolo ayikho nje into ayenza ngaphandle kwalezo ziyi-2.
Siphesihle started playing soccer at the tender age of 9. Since then, she's won numerous trophies and medals.
Ngifuna ukudlalela eBanyana and see myself overseas through iDisk. Ngi-motivate abantu abaningi ngebhola. Ngijabulile, ngisayina ama-autograph and stuff. Ngilo muntu lo ngithi mangena egroundini i-crowd yonke like iphakame.
But academically, Siphesihle has not been performing. 2 years ago, she repeated her grade 11.
Benginasikhathi for ukufunda. Most of the time bengikhona la egroundini. After gym, I'd go home, bath and then sleep. Ngikhohle nokuthi nginama homework and stuff, so I didn't pay much attention kuzo zoyi-2. So at the end of the year, zizo izinto ezingenza ukuthi ngifeyile.
Siphesihle passed her grade 11 with relatively low marks. Her biggest worry is that if she doesn't improve her performance, she might not get a bursary.
My concern now, like, I can't afford to go to tertiary because my mom doesn't work and my stepfather is also busy doing something else. So I'm working on getting a bursary. That's when I can go to school.
But will Siphesihle be able to improve her performance and get the bursary she so deeply desires?
Ngifuna ukwenza engineering ngoba ngithanda ukudraw and then like ayikho enye into engiyithola interesting ngaphandle kwalento leyo. So it's either ngiyadraw or ngisebholini. That's all.
Why are we still here? Masibuye Tolo, asike sibone ukuthi abaholi bethu bazoyixazulula kanjani le nkinga. Asiphinde sinabukele ku-One Day Leader Season 5 Mzansi. Itopic yethu yanamhlanje ithi, is the basic education curriculum still relevant for the ever-changing needs of our society? Of the matriculants that make it past the basic education system, universities are only able to accommodate just under 20% of them. Even less make it past the university. Now, if this is our reality as South Africans, shouldn't we perhaps start considering alternative forms of basic education? Well, our leaders are about to find out as they meet Siphesihle, a matriculant from Alexandra Township who is highly talented in the football spectrum but is struggling academically. Can the leaders intervene? I guess Bonnie.
Well, after receiving the task, the leaders headed to Siphesihle's high school in Alexandra Township in the heart of Johannesburg.
So sandukufika la kwaBhekilanga Secondary School to speak to Siphesihle. Basically, 3 people are going to be speaking to her to find out in terms of her school environment, what's happening. We're also going to go through and speak to her mother to also find out in terms of her home situation, what's going on, because I think that's a very vital environment in terms of her succeeding in school.
Your task centers around basic education in South Africa. You will go and assess whether basic education plays a pivotal role in her future.
When we left this house, we had a preconceived view that CPS's issue was just academics, and we left this house with an academic solution.
Nominated Sydney, Ritabile, and Ulebo are going to basically contact and speak to SABC and find out more in those regards. And then going into home, I'll be taking charge there to find out what her home situation is basically like. And hopefully when we gather that information, then we can move forward to providing solutions for the problems that she's facing.
And throughout that check, we find out that mathata ga a go faila a thomile mo kae le gore o ile byang gore a phomelle grade 11 la bobedi. Having, being in matric now and seeing what subjects you're doing and just your interests in general when it comes to what you want to study and what you want to sort of become in profession after matric.
Yeah, I want to become a civil engineer. And then if that doesn't work, architecture is my second option.
Do you take part in any sporting events or extracurricular activities?
Yeah, I do take part in sport events.
Which sport?
Soccer.
Okay.
I think soccer is some sort of obstacle to her excelling academically.
So in terms of like access and stuff, from now until she goes through to university, like support from the school. Are there any programs? How do you guys do it?
We do have programs that are running in our school. Like we've got SIP.
Okay.
That is run by the government, the department, school improvement plan that supports the learners.
Especially as a student, how is she in class?
As you can see and you know that she's been here for quite some time. She's a struggling child.
The only thing that the teacher knows is what happens in the classroom, and beyond the classroom, there's nothing that the teacher knows. So that was a major issue that I picked up.
So if I may check, just quickly to check, what is the passing rate approximately at this school?
The passing rate, we're doing well. Now for the 4th year, as metric, we've been number 1, and we are at 92 this year. Yeah.
92%. When we left the house, we already had a solution in our head to probably get her a tutor or something, but more towards the academic side, and we hadn't really considered that she values something more than academics.
From so to SABC's mama discovered that, in fact, at home, there might be space for Uma to be more strict, to tell SABC to not go and play as much soccer, as much as she's passionate about it and she's doing well. This is a very important year for her. She needs to focus on her studies. So guys, we spent the entire day with SABC. We've sort of understood her situation.
We have achieved the objectives of the task precisely because one of the objectives was that we need to find out what is it that this person likes, what is it that they are willing to do, what is their goal. We did manage to find that out. We find out that this is somebody who's willing to study engineering.
The task didn't specify that we should assist CPC pass, but just to assess whether basic education plays an important role in her life.
A big well done to our leaders for having achieved their first task on One Day Leader. Leaders, those were your first strides into leadership. It's important for us to get out of our comfort zones and truly engage with the people that we will be leading. Now, njengoba beseng Shilo in the previous episode, there'll be some twists and turns on this season. What the leaders didn't know was that, unlike last season, their tasks will also contribute to their overall score. Surprise, surprise. This means that the judges will be judging you on your performance in the tasks that you've been given. And that ultimately affects your overall score. Ayeye. Emva kwekhefu nizobona ukuthi lento izosebenza kanjani, hlala nathi. Ngiphinde nginamukele ku-One Day Leader Season 5. The contestants before the break heard for the very first time that they will be judged on how they perform their task in Alexandra Township. Remember, we're discussing ukubaluleka kwemfundo yezikole ezisemazingeni aphansi kumphakathi yalana eMzansi. Is this form of education still relevant to the ever-changing needs of our society? Let's hear what the judges have to say to the contestants about their performance on the task.
I think it's important to note that there's so much work that can be done. And as young leaders, you need to evaluate how you go into a certain situation. This specific task was your first, so I'm not going to be too harsh on you, but I would like for you to really self-reflect on what you could have done better. Because having looked at the insert and looked at what you did, I don't believe you explored the topic to the broadest extent possible.
All right, as always, thank you very much, judges, for your input. Now, as we said before, the judges will be scoring the leaders on their performance on the task. Their scoring will be based on how they followed the brief, as well as how they engaged with the case study. The task points, however, will only affect the one who performed the best and the one who performed the worst. The best performer will have 1 point added and the worst performer will have 1 point deducted. However, the deduction system does not apply today. For now, all the leaders are on an equal footing. All right, judges, please give us your worst and your best. Tebogo?
Well, our best is Lebo for this task. Round of applause. And our worst, because we expected more from him, is Sakile. We expected more from you. As a leader, you need to bring out the best in your team.
Judges, thank you so much. Our debate topic for this week: is the basic education curriculum still relevant to the ever-changing needs of society? Before we get into our first debate, let's have a look at the rules of engagement.
Like anything, there are principles to debating, to formulating an argument, to having a constructive discussion, or just communicating with anybody else. Now, my dues, you must find a guiding thought to your argument, whatever idea you want to bring across. So, what do I mean by guiding argument? There's that one thought, which is an insight to you, that informs why you're taking a particular stance. Find it. It's the spine of your conversation. It brings everything together. Knowing your argument. Once you've got your insight and your thought that leads you to whatever direction you want to take or stance, formulate an argument. Know exactly what idea you're driving across, what you want to say to the next person, and know it very well. Be immersed in it so that even if they were to throw a spanner in the works, you are not dogmatic. You are not a person who's driving the same point home that everybody gets, but you are able to use the perspective of the next speaker to be able to build on your argument. And then my third do is be structured. Structure doesn't come easily. It's much like flying a plane or landing a plane. There's a science to it, but when it happens beautifully. So be structured. When you've got your guiding thought, you know what argument you're driving home. Now land it accordingly and do it very well. Now here are my don'ts. When I talk about don'ts, there are many things I can tell you not to do. But these 3 don'ts cover an array of areas. Number 1, don't be a research paper. Don't be a thesis. So don't take all the information that you gathered for wherever you got it and use that as an argument. It is your guiding tool to landing your argument to the next person, to landing the idea to the next person. The second one, do not deviate from the debate. And deviation here means don't bring in things that don't matter when you are in a heated debate and you realize that I may be losing my cool or I may be losing the angle which I came in with. Do not deviate. Do not use frivolous examples that are going to throw everybody off from what you're trying to do. Remember that guiding thought needs to stay in tune so that you don't deviate. And then the third one, do not get too emotional. There's a fine line between emotion and passion. and you need to find your fine line. Every speaker has got a different fine line or gray area. Don't get emotional. It's not about you. It's not personal. It's about the idea you are driving home.
That was Ndumiso Mgomezulu, one of our mentors working behind the scenes with our contestants. Let's hope our leaders paid close attention to the detail that he shared, all about the do's and don'ts of debating. These will certainly come in handy. Now, contestants, don't be so tense. Remember, you will have 30 seconds for your opening statement, 60 seconds to challenge each other, and then the remaining 30 seconds to conclude. Now it's time for us to get into our first debate between Lebu and Sydney. Before that gets underway, Deboho, I would like you to please choose the leader who will be for and against.
For this one, Sydney, you deserve to be against, and Lebo, you'll be for.
All right, Lebo, you are for. Please share your vision statement. You do have 30 seconds.
Our basic education system is currently highly employee-based, but what I do feel is that we can reach a point where we're sort of implementing stakeholders and businesses into the curriculum in order to help students have a more effective ways into workshops and mentorships with regards to business. Because we have learners who will sort of transcend into becoming entrepreneurs, and others who can use that sort of enterprise to have sort of positive effects in their communities and to be headstrong in the workspace.
All right, Lebo, your time is up. You guys now have 60 seconds between the two of you to challenge the topic.
All right, Lebo. So 21,000 schools are without libraries and science laboratories. How does your solution address that particular problem?
Sydney, if we look at libraries and media centers, for example, are those, once you're in a school that provides you with those things, does that give you enough sort of stance to get a job thereafter?
But for example,
we have tons of people who will go through school, who will have resources, who will finish matric, but will still be jobless. Our needs today are economic needs. So what I'm saying to you is that we need to...
And then we have 3,544 schools that are without electricity. If we are an economic-based society, then why is it that we are not addressing that problem in our schools?
So what you're saying is that the department has not done enough with regards to where we're at right now. So we're not looking at all the ICT systems brought in to sort of create better systems for kids to learn in class, tablets, digital sort of systems.
And then doesn't the little pay that teachers are receiving in the Department of Education contribute to their inability to deliver an efficient curriculum to our schools?
Time is up, Label. 30 seconds to conclude, please.
Sydney, in conclusion, I don't think it is up to just the department or the curriculum to sort of shape where the kids are going. There should be private stakeholders. What happens to corporates that can sort of fall into place, or the Department of Infrastructure who can come into play and sort of play their role in different things? There's certain things that the department has put into place, and we both know this, to sort of sustain or improve learning, improve the future of these learners, was what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, we need more from the outside coming in. It's not just about
Lebo, your
the
time is up.
department.
Sydney, you now have 30 seconds for your opening statement.
The basic education department sits with 3,544 schools without electricity. How is it addressing this problem, especially if it wants to roll out ICT learning in public schools across the country? 19,037 schools are without a computer center. How do we accelerate learning if a pilot project is only put in place in Gauteng and not across the entire republic? We need to also ask ourselves the question that if an average lecturer is earning 200,000 rands more than a teacher, doesn't that affect how efficient a teacher can give out the curriculum? Sydney, time is up. Your 60 seconds starts now for the challenge.
Sydney, you mentioned the ICT system and so on and so forth.
Yes.
So what you're saying to me is that thus far enough for the time being has not been done. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying to you that the ICT program has been rolled out in Gauteng between 2015 and 2020, and that investment is happening strictly in Gauteng. What about the Eastern Cape? What about the Western Cape? What
So
about
how long did Gauteng take to sort of get that system going?
Just to give you information, this was established in the January of 2015. But is it not
so what
fair
you're saying to
to
me is
implement
that
it across the
in
republic?
that whole sphere of 1 year, we need to have conquered all provinces in that space of time.
What I'm saying to you is, if we are going to roll out a pilot project in Gauteng, we need to also roll it out in all these other different provinces.
When you roll out a pilot project, you're trying to see if it will work, Sydney.
You're trying to see
if it's something that is already systematically working, Sydney. You need to see if it's working. So once you sort of start somewhere, you start somewhere, Sydney. You don't just take something and spread it across, not in the beginning, not as a pilot system.
All right, thank you very much, contestant Sydney. 30 seconds to conclude.
Imagine a South Africa where teacher packages are reflective of the hours they put in to teach, where the private sector adopts poverty-stricken rural schools to assist with infrastructure promoted by the Department of Education. A South Africa that treats education as a societal problem, but strictly looking at the Department of Education. We have paperless education in Gauteng. When is it being rolled out to the rest of the public? 3,000 schools are receiving sanitary pads in KwaZulu-Natal. When is it going to happen to the rest of the republic? Dismantling the legacy of apartheid.
Thank you very much, Sydney. Your time is up. What a fantastic way to get our debates going. Great views, great opinions. Judges, Catherine, what do you think of that first round of debate?
I think it was a good debate. I do think that Lebo was really very strong against somebody who is known to our viewers as being an exceptional debater. So Lebo, really a big ups to you on that. I do, however, feel that you both veered off of the exact topic, and you were then arguing something different. You were arguing pilot projects being rolled out as opposed to focusing specifically on the topic at hand.
All right, thank you so much, Catherine. This season, the judges will not be giving their score upright right until the end of our debates. So you at home will have to stay tuned to see if your favorite leader will indeed win. Remember, at home, our SMS lines are officially open. You can start voting for your favorite candidate by SMSing the word leader and their number to 32672. Ashlangane futhi emva kwekhefu. Welcome back. You're still watching One Day Leader. Today we're discussing education in our communities, and our debate topic is: the basic education curriculum still relevant to the ever-changing needs of society? Our next debate is between Rethabile and Itumeleng. Before we get that underway, Catherine, I'm going to ask you to select who will be for and who will be against.
Itumeleng for and Rethabile against.
All right, Itumeleng, the spotlight is on you. You have 30 seconds to give us your vision statement, please.
Now, our people in Alexandra, Everton, Kayelich, and many other townships are drowning in poverty and substance abuse because of an education curriculum that has marginalized us. A system that perpetuates injustices of the past, with kids of the bourgeoisie rejoicing at Hilton College and kids of the proletariat suffering, running in the mud in the township schools. Now, I have two pillar solutions to this one. I'm saying the government should fund a system that accommodates everyone. This is a system through public-private partnership. Also, we need to be able to stop mimicking a system of Western ideology that explains what education is.
Thank you, Itumeleng. Leaders, you now have 60 seconds to challenge the topic.
Itumeleng, listen, we have an important need that our children need to know how to read, write, and arithmetics. Our education system does not cater for that. We need children that are able to read, Itumeleng. And how does that under your policy? How is that achievable under your policy?
Simple. This is what happens. We need a reformed curriculum in which this curriculum can be able to teach our people that you can be an entrepreneur.
Nurture talent as well. We need
an education system that nurtures talent as well. A job seeker. And on top of that, our government is able now to invest in this new rolled out system of e-learning, the internet, tablets that are being rolled out into communities. Now, we are now working on a system that is accommodating all the people that are from Alexandra, where you find that 70% of the community is unemployed. We have shifted towards a system that is computer-based society.
Academics. What about people that are talented? Why can't we have an education system that nurtures talent as well?
Our education system is moving towards a system. They have introduced a pilot project.
It's moving towards, it's not, there's not implementing solutions on how we nurture talent. Why don't you have a
time is up, leaders. Itumeleng, you now have 30 seconds to conclude the debate, please.
Now, in order for our education system to be relevant, it needs to be a system that has got a curriculum that teaches us that we can be entrepreneurs, job creators, and not mere job seekers. A curriculum that puts the child of the bourgeoisie and the child of the proletariat on the same playing field. Now, that is a curriculum that can be achieved through government investment in e-learning, provision of tablets into rural education, and also a curriculum that addresses the social needs of our people in Alexandra. And that is what we are doing through interventions programs that the government has rolled out. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Itumeleng. You're actually ahead of time, but that's all right. Retabile, it is now your turn. 30 seconds to give us your opening vision statement.
Education does not define you. Education is a tool that you use on your way to greatness. What we need is an education system that also takes into consideration people that are into singing, people that are into music, people that are into law as well as sports. Why don't we have something like a sports science, which is a subject that someone like Spacely can take? We have an appalling percentage of 24.88 as a bachelor's entry. Doesn't that tell us that our education system needs to look at other people? What happens to the rest? What happens to the high teacher absenteeism rate that we have in our South African
Retabile, thank you very much.
system.
You now have 60 seconds to challenge the debate. The audience are loving it. Go ahead, 60 seconds.
The key argument that you are raising here seems that you are saying that we should be pumping more money into an education system that's going to empower more people.
No,
but you look at countries like Zimbabwe, okay. Countries like Zimbabwe, Equatorial Guinea, countries like Kenya, these are countries that are investing less than we do. But their education system is way better than our education system.
I can tell you something. Society prioritizes having academics. You need to be a lawyer. You need to be a doctor. What about people that are prioritizing things like arts and culture? We need the curriculum to be able to actually encompass those people as well. Why can't you have a singing subject? Why can't you have a sports subject? Why can't you have all of those incorporated into the curriculum?
You're not giving me a solid argument.
No,
what are you saying?
I am telling you that we need an education system that helps us. No, listen. No, you listen. We need to have an education system that helps children that are able to be talented. The curriculum does not encompass that. The curriculum just wants you to be a doctor, a lawyer, and just be around those careers. So what about careers that are not as that people that cannot? No, it's because the current education system does not.
Thank you very much, Retabile. You can continue by closing the debate, or for us, you have 30 seconds.
All right. A mother gives birth, a learner is born. A student graduates, a future is born. A school is built, a future is secured. It is through quality basic education that more than 18% of matrics will be able to access the tertiary education sector. And it is because of a quality basic education that determines how more involved our society will be. We need an education system that adheres to the needs of society and the needs of the learners themselves and their talents. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, leaders. That was both an interesting, feisty debate that had all sorts of theatrics as well. I am going to rope in Mr. Opa Budibe. You've heard the debate so far. What is your stance on how our leaders are actually doing? And are they actually sticking to the topic of the relevance of the current education system in our country?
I love the way in which the passion is being brought to this debate by all the debaters so far. However, I feel that the basic question has not been addressed. And whilst you understand that this is a very specialist subject, but what I would love to hear coming out is, what is curriculum? What is its basic task? Where is it succeeding? How is it failing? And how it can be improved? Because so far what we've had is the supporting environment that needs to be created for curriculum to be delivered. But that's not the issue at hand today. The issue at hand is whether that curriculum is enabling young people to cope with the world of work and to cope with the world of higher education.
Fantastic insight from you, sir. Thank you very much. Judges, Catherine Tebogo, feel free to vote for the debaters that we've just seen. Of course, we'll only be getting your scoring right at the end of the show. We will be announcing our collective results, and also remember that our studio audience will also be voting for their very own episode winner. For now, I'm going to put the Chief of Staff of the MSc of Basic Education in Gauteng on the spot and ask you to please let us know who will be for and who will be against in our next debate. Our final debate is between Sakile and Anisa.
I will say Sakile for and Anisa against.
Fantastic. Sakile, you do have 30 seconds to give us your opening statement.
South Africa, we need change. South Africa is rated second last in the world by the World Economic Forum on basic education. But this is not because the content learners produce or are given in a classroom isn't efficient, but rather the environment in that classroom. Our curriculum is good enough. Our teachers, maybe not so, but more especially those environments, maybe not so as well. We need to reopen teacher training colleges in this country to directly influence teachers and how they give out the curriculum, because that is where
Time
the
is up,
problem
Sakile.
lies.
Anissa, Sakile, you have 60 seconds for the challenge.
You speak about South Africa being the second last on the scope, but then I'd just like to ask you, South Africa is actually ranked second most potential globally that would likely to increase its GDP by 2.69% should it increase its level of education.
Exactly, right? This is potential. This is not the tangible reality we're living in right now. What I'm telling you is that we need to focus our teachers, right? Because they're the mechanisms that give out that education.
Okay, let's talk about the environment. You talk about teachers. So what do you say about an environment that these learners are explored to?
Definitely.
For example, students that have to cross rivers to get to school. What do you say about them?
So this is where the resources that we think we have, and we do have as a country, needs to be redirected into disenfranchised communities.
You speak about disenfranchised.
Let me answer your question. Disenfranchised communities, because we need that. Like if you have the former Model C schools who are able to send kids to Harvard and stuff, they are good enough. That's because the content they learn in the curriculum is good enough, but that's not translated into the rural communities, into townships.
Can you please translate Limpopo and what happened with the textbook crisis?
It's a rural community, and that's what I'm saying.
But you're saying that South Africa is doing enough.
All right, thank you guys. Sakile, you can
that?
conclude the debate. You have 30 seconds.
Mahatma Gandhi once said the object of basic education is the physical, intellectual, moral development of a child through a medium and a handicraft, right? The handicraft in this instance is problematic. Children are given a curriculum that is competent, but the teachers aren't able to translate that. But also in an environment that isn't conducive to education taking place, it's not possible, ladies and gentlemen. South Africa, you've done well with your curriculum. The teachers and the disadvantaged communities need to work better at trying to do that.
Right on the clock, Sakile. Thank you very much. Anissa, you now have 30 seconds for your opening statement.
A society that has long moved into the digital world, but an education system that still remains a challenge to most. Its relevancy must be questioned. Knowledge as we know it is our global currency, and we need to keep this knowledge fashionable, up to date, and in line with our societal needs. We can do this by moving away from the traditional cram, pass, and forget to a conceptual model, and Singapore has done well with doing this. It goes back to speaking about artisans and talents like SABC and promoting those. If a child cannot go to an education, then bring the education to the child, and ICT speaks directly to this.
Thank you very much, Anissa. 60 seconds to challenge the debate.
You speak of cram and pass like that's the current education curriculum. It's not. We're using CAPS now. We're using
Sakile, when I say cram, pass, and forget, I meant that students are normally... Go ahead.
Thank you. You use CAS, you use CAPS now. These are education systems that are there to steer people to think for themselves.
By the fact that these education systems have limited our spaces of thinking. They've created a space where we need to learn stuff that are in the textbook and not our practical talents. What then happens to a learner like SABC? What happens to a learner like SABC?
She needs to finish her schooling so that she can have something to fall back on.
Society has created. Society has boxed us into thinking that we cannot explore our mind. We cannot go beyond what the textbook tells us. That is what you're saying. That is what you just said about a child like SABC. You said that she has to have this and that, but you didn't focus on her talent.
So you're saying she doesn't need to read, write, and be able to count?
She has to, but you need to promote her love for her talent.
Definitely.
You need to promote that, and not just box her and tell her that education is a final destination.
All right, leaders, your time is up. Anissa, 30 seconds to conclude, please.
Our educational system is built to promote the philosophical as opposed to the conceptual basis, and this disadvantages students. According to the Department of Telecommunications, 54% of ICT connectivity focuses more on urban areas, whereas 33% focuses on rural areas. No one is talking about the kid who has to study under the tree. As we all know, children must be taught how to think and not what to think. The digital divide between urban and rural schools are too loud. We can, we must, and we will spark moving towards ICT connectivity in schools.
Thank you very much, Anissa. Your 30 seconds are up. This will certainly be a very tough one for our judges. After the break, we find out who won each of the debates. Our studio audience over here will also have an opportunity to vote for their favorite candidate. Then lastly, we take a look at the final scoreboard. It's getting hot in here. All right, welcome back to One Day Leader. And if you've just joined us, you're just in time to find out who would have won the first round of debates. It is interesting time, heated debates here earlier on in studio, and our judges as well as our members of the audience have all made their selections. Now, I have tallied up the judges' votes. No pressure, guys. You can exhale. Interesting indeed. I will kick off the results with the first set of debates, which was between Lebo and Sydney. You came out very strong, Lebo. Congratulations. You were the winner of that debate. All right, now we're moving along swiftly. The second round of debate was between Rethabile and Itumeleng. I can almost see the beads of sweat on Itumeleng's face. Rethabile, congratulations to you. You won the round. And our final debate was between Usakile Wasemtubani and Anisa, representing the Free State. Mr. Budibe said we were getting somewhere in your round. But Anisa, you came out victorious. Congratulations to you. Well done to our winners for winning their first official debate of the season. I now rope in our guest judge. I know it was hard watching that.
It was, and congratulations to the winners. The other guys should not give up. And I think the points came out strongly today. And what I think is my takeaway from this debate is that we need to improve on vocational and education so that we can mix curriculum delivery with talent and with vocation. Because the insert was telling us that there is a disjuncture in our education system where we focus on academics but don't nurture their talents.
All right. Thank you very much to Mr. Budibe. Now, the exciting part was that our studio audience also had their say in voting for their overall winner. Who will it be? We have 6 debaters, 6 leaders. Who outshone the rest? They say dynamites come in small packages. She is feisty. She stood her ground. Congratulations, Lebo. The audience have voted you the overall winner. Fantastic. Well done once again to our winner for this episode. Remember, you at home can still keep voting for your favorite candidate by SMSing the word leader and the number to 32672. Voting lines will be open until Thursday afternoon. That is where you get a chance to have your say. Your voting results will then be shown at the top of our next episode. Candidates, a big thank you, and to you audience as well as our judges for a phenomenal episode. To you at home, thank you so much for joining us. Next week we will be discussing the issue of drug abuse. From myself, Owagashong Mdwana, and the rest of the One Day Leader crew, nisale kahle.